Good morning. Quick little video this morning. I'm going to post two videos today. This one that we're making right now, and one that I made last year on some tools you can use to find normal probabilities without utilizing the table. So we're going to look at this guidelines box that is on page 221 in the 5.1 PDF. And this guidelines box is very, very important because it really explains how we find or how we answer the different questions you can be asked. So we'll work our way through it. I'm going to show you how to do these with an online tool. And then the second video, we'll talk about how to do normal probabilities in Google Sheets. So let's just do this one right here because it's the example we have in a book and we have the answers right here to double check. So we want to find the area to the left of a z-value. That z-value in this case is 1.23. So I've given you a link to this tool that you can use online. It's from mathisfun.com, and it is the standard normal distribution table. On the top, you've got three options here. You can do a calculation from 0 to wherever you choose a z-score, either to the left or to the right. We have an up to z calculator, which will start probabilities on the left of a z-value. And we've got a z onwards, so you give it a starting value, and it'll calculate the area to the right. So our first question, which was the area to the left, so we're going to use this up to z value, and it was up to a z-score of 1.23. And you'll see that this calculates to 2 decimal places. So we'll move it up to 1.23, and there we go. 89.07%, or 0.8907. That is the answer that they give us. So that's a very easy tool to answer those area to the left questions. The next one, it says the area to the right of z. Now, again, they use this 1.23, and we already know that answer. So we could just do 1 minus 0.8907 and get the correct answer. Or we can use the z onwards format and go again to 1.23, and we get 10.93%, or 0.1093, which is the correct answer for the area to the right of z equals 1.23. And the last one is the only one that you'd have to actually do some calculations for. And there's two options on how you can do this. This is the area in between two z-scores. Okay, so we want to find the area in between negative 0.75 and positive 1.23. So the basic way we've been doing that so far is you want to find the larger area. So we would go up to 1.23. There we go, clumsy fingers. 89.07, which we already know. And you want to write that down. And then you could do the second one, which is negative 0.75. Right about there. 0.2266. And you can just write those two numbers down and subtract them, which is exactly what they do here in the textbook, and you'd get your correct answer. You could also, wrong one, here we go. You could have used the 0 to z function, and you could have done the area from 0 to negative 0.75, 27.34%. And you could have done the area from 0 to 1.23, and you could have added those two numbers together. So you could do it the standard way we've been utilizing to find the larger area and then subtract the smaller area. Or if you're using this tool, you could find the area from 0 to both z values and add those together. Now, that way only works assuming the z-scores are on opposite sides of the 0, the mean in the middle. You couldn't, if you had to go from, say, positive 0.75 to positive 0.1 or 1.23, you wouldn't want to add those two together. That wouldn't work. In that case, you'd have to do a subtraction. So keep that in mind. Be thoughtful when you're doing these. But that's a quick, easy tool to utilize. They also go through here and do some examples of how to use the table and so on. So it's not a bad resource to just go ahead and read through. But there you go. Easy tool for calculating z-scores. Now, the one thing this doesn't do is it doesn't work for x values. And we're going to get into that in section 5.2, where we're not using z-scores anymore. We're actually given a population with a mean and a standard deviation, and we're using individual x values, which means you could go through the process of calculating a z-score and then utilizing a tool like this. Or, as we'll see in Google Sheets, we can just go ahead and input our x, our mean, and our standard deviation and find the answer without doing that extra z-score step. So this is a tool really just for section 5.1, although it could be utilized later, but it's actually extra work to utilize this later on. So, use this if you like. I personally like the Google Sheet trick. If you have a TI-84 calculator, take the time to look up the instructions for a TI-84 calculator, because it's certainly easy in there, and you will probably be allowed to utilize that on a quiz or a test at the college level. So thank you very much. Have a good morning.